Coping with the crisis this morning, are you having trouble making your mortgage payments? Right now, there are government programs to modify home loans, but lenders also have their own plans that you might not know about. Joining us now live in Fox 35's newsroom is Orlando real estate attorney Barry Miller. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning.
Okay, so foreclosure numbers still bad. Many Americans are still afraid that they could be heading in that direction of foreclosure. An option could be loan modification. What exactly is it, and when should somebody try to get one?
Well, when someone's behind on their mortgage and having troubles paying, there are programs out there. One is the HAMP program, which is a home affordable program that's put out by the government. Now, the program hasn't been very successful. There's been over 2 million people that have applied for it, but only about 200,000 people have been approved. And the trick is to be persistent, put your package in correctly, and keep after the lender to try to get approval. Now, there's also alternatives out there. If you can't qualify under the HAMP program, the banks have their own programs, and you have to know how to apply for them.
And how do you apply for those programs? I mean, are they easy, the bank's own programs? Are they easy to get?
They're not. A lot of times the banks don't want to let you know that they're there. First, you've got to go through the government program. Those are tricky. You have to get all the paperwork in. The banks lose the packages, so you have to get them very precise, get them in there, get them in right, and then keep after the banks. And a lot of people need help doing them.
And that's where a lot of real estate attorneys come in. If somebody doesn't have a whole lot of money, then how can you help, and how much do you charge?
Well, it varies on the costs of it. You know, it costs somewhere between $500 and $800 to do a loan modification program. But the trick is, if you do it right and get it in, that's where an attorney can be helpful, is you'll get it done a whole lot quicker. And you don't risk getting, chances of getting turned down are less.
And Barry, you say be persistent. What do you mean by that? Just keep calling and calling?
Well, exactly. It's the lenders, you put your package in. Sometimes we've heard stories they lose the package 8, 9, 10 times.
And when you're 8, 9, or 10 times, wow. Are they doing this on purpose, or is this just falling through the cracks?
I think it's just the sheer volume that they have and change of personnel. A lot of our clients say they call, and every time they get somebody different.
Okay, so when you're talking about loan modification, are you talking about lowering the interest rate, or are you talking about lowering the principal on the loan? Well,
there's all kinds of variations of it. It's basically they take 31% under the HAMP program, 31% of your income, and that amount should equal your payment, and that includes your principal, interest, taxes, and your homeowners association fees.
Okay, and what kind of success have you seen? You say the HAMP program hasn't been that successful, but when people actually try to go through, their own banks for the banks program, what kind of success have you seen there?
Well, the bank programs, there's no any public statistics out on what they are. Only on the government program, and when only 200,000 out of 2 million are being approved, it's not very successful.
Wow. So what are the solutions there?
Well, what happens to a lot of people is if they can't end up modifying their loan, they end up, a lot of people switch in and do a short sale.
And don't banks not want to do short sales because they can make more on foreclosures?
No, actually they do better on a short sale because they get their money quicker and they don't have to go through the whole expense of short sales.
Okay, and why is a short sale better for instance, a client, somebody who is trying to get rid of their home?
Well, if we, I think a modification is better to keep someone in their home, and that's why I think people should try for the modification at first. And like I said, be persistent. Try to get everything the bank needs. Try to get qualified. There's a lot of backup documents that have to be sent, tax returns, bank statements, W-2s, and that's the first thing. We want to try to keep people in their home. That's what the program was meant for.
When you get a modification, Barry, does it have any hit to your credit? For instance, can your credit score go down?
It can, because a lot of people who go in for modifications are already behind on their mortgage. But the items that a modification is the least of all the alternatives to hit your credit.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Orlando real estate attorney Barry Miller. Barry, thank you so much for coming in with your advice.